All right, we're all recording. We're all good. Awesome. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Memo. I'm Richard Lyons, here with my co-hosts Alex Masados and Matt Brodsky. Today, we're going to quickly go over our picks from last week, and then we'll spend the rest of the time answering questions that people submitted to us through Instagram. Just want to say thank you to anyone who did that.
Got a good amount.
Yeah, we did. At the time of this recording, it is Monday, November 5th, and the Cowboys game is currently on while we're recording. But this is officially our third episode, so I see it's only fit that we start off the third episode by me mentioning I went 3-0 in picks this week. And that was we went through the Rams, Saints, Falcons, Redskins, and Patriots, Packers. So I went 3-0. Matt?
2-1.
5-0.
1-2, tough week for you.
1-2.
All right, we gotta start putting some wagers down on these picks that we do.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It would have been nice for you to pay me for the last one.
Yeah, that money's in the way. It's on the way. It's coming.
Throw fives each week.
Don't hold your breath.
Think of a punishment.
Yeah, we'll come up with something for next week because we're not picking games this week because this week is a terrible.
Whoever loses gets murdered.
Okay. No, we'll get back to that next week when we start picking games again.
Yeah. So what do you want to start off?
The week that was, it was a good week of football last week.
It was.
I would say both games, the Saints, Rams, and Pats, Packers, lived up to the hype. Packers, Pats kind of got away, but it was 17-17 at the start of the fourth. So it was kind of back and forth. But the game of the week definitely lived up to the hype. Rams, Saints, shootout. Like, they scored 70 points combined. And, I picked the Saints on this show, and I bet the Rams at home.
Interesting.
And I was so stupid of me. I didn't have, the balls to go against the favorite, and it fucked me. I lost. But, Saints won by 10. That was a really good game by them.
How much were the Rams favored by?
They were -2 on the road.
Really?
Lost by 10.
Interesting. I said last week, the Saints, they got that magic feel right now.
They really played. Yeah. They played really well.
Yep. And now, are they the first seed now? The 1 seed, right? They're both 8-1.
Well, the Saints had a bye, so they have one less win.
Okay.
But it'll match up head to head. Obviously, they have the tiebreaker now. But the thing with the Saints and the thing with this game is the Rams defense. This good Rams defense gave up 45 points, and they gave up 31 in the first half. They were just big plays all over the field. Michael Thomas could not be contained. Alvin Kamara had his way. I think he had 2 or 3 touchdowns. The Rams defense, they've given up their good share of points this season. It's concerning moving forward.
I think they're really missing Aqib Talib right now. Marcus Peters looks like he's not the same cornerback that he was of last year and a few years ago, and he could really use somebody to take the pressure off of him. And not saying that Aqib Talib is the reason why the Rams defense is giving up so many points. Obviously, they gave up a lot on the ground as well, but they could really use him back. Is he expected back anytime soon?
I haven't heard any news of him coming back. I don't know.
What did he injure exactly? Was it an ankle?
I think it's an ankle or
who knows
calf.
Even when he comes back if he's going to be.
Well, yeah, and you're right about that.
He's kind of old. Was he 31? 32?
Yeah, he's on the backside. You're right about that. And the thing with Marcus Peters, even when he was on the Chiefs, he was always susceptible to giving up yards and play. He makes his money on turnovers, getting picks. If he's not doing that, you can definitely throw his way. Yeah. He's not by any means a lockdown corner. But you're right, he needs that guy on the other side. They're just exposing that defense right now. Mm-hmm. And when you're going up against Breeze, good luck, in general.
Yeah. He really can do no wrong this season.
Unreal.
Yeah, they're crazy right now.
Has he thrown an interception yet?
I think he has one. He has one pick.
It's absurd.
Yeah, he's still he's having a great year. And we mentioned before, I had to mention week after week that the Rams were not going to go undefeated, and if there's a game, especially with these tough games all in a row, they're going to drop one. But to that note, the way that they played, I don't take anything away from them either. They're bound to lose a game. It's fine. You're losing in New Orleans to the other best team in the conference. We'll see where they go from here. It would be good to see them bounce back and kind of correct those mistakes. But I don't have much to say about the Rams. Falling apart.
It was. It was any team's game in a game like that.
It was really
can't really be disappointed in either team losing.
Like Goff still looked great.
Yeah.
Threw for like 400 yards.
It was really a treat to watch that game. It was a fantastic game all around. And there was a big deficit there early in the first half, and they fought back. So definitely give them credit.
They tied it up.
Yeah, they tied it up. Those are easily the two best teams in the NFC, and I'm hoping that this isn't the last time we see them play each other.
Watching that game after watching the Jets game, I wanted to actually cry. Just seeing these guys actually have time to throw the ball, and like
this is what football looks like.
The creative play calling and just like moving the ball up and down the field. It's just
complete polar opposite games.
Yeah, it was.
And both of these teams, and like we always talk about when we talk about the Jets, the offensive line, but the pockets that both of them form for Goff and Breeze, it just gives them so much freedom to just air it out, run these creative plays, like put on a show for the fans. It's just being a Jet fan is so hard.
Yeah, so we got what we wanted out of that game, really,
for sure.
And there's not really much to say. Do we really want to talk about Redskins Falcons?
I don't think there's much there. We kind of knew that the Redskins, they have a nice record. They're not by any means.
No, they're
some teams.
They're not
really
a threat. Yeah. The Falcons handled them pretty well.
Yeah, watch out for the Falcons now. Maybe they can put some wins together and get back into the hunt.
Yeah,
they need to.
And with regard to the Redskins, it's like, and I know talking about the Redskins isn't the most like entertaining thing, but when you dictate how the game is played against the Redskins, it always looks like they end up losing. Yeah, like they want to play that ground and pound, like conservative play calling, good defense, and if you can up the tempo against them, like they're not going to win games.
That's a good point. Interesting to note, I didn't know this. The Eagles and Redskins haven't played each other yet, so they have two games against each other. That'll probably determine the division.
Yeah.
But after this week, like the Eagles they're right in it still. It's a 2-team race.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
But that's all. I mean.
Yeah, that game sucked.
It wasn't really competitive. You're right.
Yeah, it was just one of the only other better matchups of the week.
Julio finally got in the end zone.
Yeah, that was a pretty sick play. I thought he was gonna get down to like the 1 yard line, and then he just slipped out of it. Good for him though.
I didn't see it.
You saw Odell. You didn't see it.
I was driving home. I caught the fourth quarter of all the games.
Yeah,
it was like you can just based on the play, you can tell like he needed that touchdown.
Yeah, it was just like a screen pass, and he was like wide open running downfield, and then the safety like wrapped him up around like the 3 yard line, and he like
just
tucked down and then like lunged back and got in.
Nice.
I just said that away from the mic, so you might not have heard it, but
nice.
Yeah, it was pretty sick.
And then Packers-Pats. I know I went out on a limb taking the Packers. Obviously the Patriots look like the more complete team, but and that's a tough loss for the Packers. They're 3-4-1 now. Vikings look really good. Like it's gonna be tough for them to catch them. But the Pats, they just do what they do. Yeah. They get it done.
You said it lived up to the hype. I didn't think. It was a tie game going into the fourth, but like with those two guys, you want to see a game like the Saints and the Rams. You want to see those two guys shoot it out, and I feel like they're like both so smart. Like they like won't let it get into that situation, like a shootout like that. I don't know. Like I don't know if do you understand what I mean by that?
They're trying to dictate the game on their own terms.
Yeah,
they don't want to get caught firing back.
Yeah,
and forth.
Exactly. You said it better than me.
But to that note, neither one of these quarterbacks looked particularly great last night.
Yeah.
They both were under 300 yards, no turnovers, which was nice, but
Brady didn't. I don't think Brady had a touchdown pass until the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I don't think.
I feel like both teams were thinking like, let's not let the other guy get the ball.
Yeah,
it was almost like keep away.
Exactly.
Who can hold on to it?
Which makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
The better team won, obviously. The more complete team won. But it's actually interesting. This was the fewest yards Rodgers threw this year against a bad defense, which has been playing better.
Dude, the Patriots' defense is always good against good teams. They just I couldn't name a single player on the defense, and they just somehow. I don't know what the fuck that was. What the fuck is that?
Slack. It was Slack.
Oh, fucking Slack. God damn it.
Can you mute it?
No.
Okay.
No, we can't.
I feel like
they step up, except in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I feel like they're always just like a bend but don't break kind of defense. Like know your assignments. Like the game plan's always like well thought out, but it's never stacked with very talented players.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you have a consistent player like Patrick Chung for 30 years.
Guy's been in the league since the 70s.
Honestly, like I'm going to bring it back up. The fact that Rodgers is getting like, he's fighting against his own team on top of fighting against the other team. You can tell that defense now is missing a playmaker. They had nobody to stop Brady, nobody over the field to keep those guys in check. You trade your best safety right away.
That play
That's what's going to happen.
where Gordon scored the touchdown, it was at the corner of the safety who completely botched
Yeah,
on the
I mean,
play.
55-yard
like
touchdown.
Yeah.
Like you say, he's facing the opponent and he's facing against his own stupid coaching staff. Mike McCarty has got to go soon. I'm sick of that guy. I'm sick of him.
Mike McCarty, he should leave, and Mike McCarthy should also leave.
Oh, shit. Stop that. We're all dead now.
But,
good job.
I thought it was a good game. I think we were spoiled by Saints Rams.
Yeah.
We were expecting that for the night game, and that one's tough to match.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a pretty good game.
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting to be a little disappointed, especially the hype going into it, of course.
It might be the last time
They ever play, yeah.
Might be the last time they ever play.
Unless they meet in the bowl, probably is, because they won't play for another 4 years.
Yeah. And I don't think the Packers have a chance at
No.
the Super Bowl. They
Maybe
got to make the
next year.
playoffs first.
Yeah, they're in trouble. They're definitely in trouble. It's a
Definitely.
packed NFC. It's going to be tough.
All right, so,
Don't
That
count
was-
out Aaron Rodgers.
yeah, definitely don't count on Aaron Rodgers. All right, so King 3-0, Prince 2-1, Court Jester 1-2. All right, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. We'll move on to the
Very
questions
offended.
here.
And we're just going to say we're not doing picks this week because this week is bad.
Yeah,
It's a really
the best
bad.
matchup is what, Bengals
It was
and
Bengals.
Panthers or something?
No. It was like
Panthers Steelers.
Yeah?
Do we want
It
to pick
was-
that game?
we
quick
could, I mean,
picks?
the Thursday night game, I'm taking the Panthers.
Yeah, I'll take the Panthers too.
I haven't put any thought into it.
Yeah, neither have
Panthers.
I.
All right.
So we're
No,
either
the game
all-
of the week, it was like Bengals, some shitty team
Yeah.
was the best game. Like Ravens or some shit.
Yeah, not fun. All right, so we'll move on to the questions here.
Cool.
And
Again, thank you for everyone who submitted a question.
yes, thank you. We're going to move on to a question from Ugly Eckerly, Brian Eckerly, sorry. He said, if you could start a franchise with one guy that is not a quarterback, who would you start it with? Lachlan Edwards.
Nick
Who the
Mullins
fuck is that?
Punter, New York Jets.
is a quarterback.
Okay. Well, I think we all agree it's a defensive player that you need. You're
No.
gonna need.
Kelvin Benjamin doesn't play defense.
If I'm
That
starting a
guy's so
team, I'm gonna want somebody to rush the passer. I think a D end is probably the most important part on the team, besides a quarterback and maybe a left tackle. But I'm not picking a left tackle because that's boring as hell. Give me Myles Garrett on the Browns defensive end. Coming into this week, he was actually tied with the league lead in sacks. Aaron Donald passed him, but the Myles Garrett, from right when he started last season, like you could just tell he was a stud. Number 1 pick in the draft, immediate returns for Cleveland. He just looks like he's going to be a guy who's going to get 15 sacks every single season, just dominate that anyone who he faces on the other side. So I'll start with Myles Garrett.
Now, he's a good pick because he's so young, and he's already filthy.
It's his second season.
I
probably should have mentioned his age.
Yeah, he's young. He's like 35. Speaking of young, Cameron Wake. No, he's actually like 37.
Still good as fuck.
He is. He had 2 sacks. He actually only had 1 sack before yesterday. Now he had 2 yesterday.
He's good. He's a threat.
Good job, Jets. No, I wanted to say Khalil Mack, but I mean, I'm pretty sure he's been injured a little bit this season.
Yes.
But he's definitely fell off from that crazy start he had where he had like a forced fumble and a pick and a sack in every fucking
You
game.
can't keep that pace up.
Of course not. But I think I'm still going to go with Khalil Mack because he was an all-pro at which is, first of all, a little off track. That is the dumbest thing ever, that he was an all-pro at 2 positions. You can't give it to another guy. There wasn't someone else who could have been got the nice accolade. Just had to give Khalil Mack 2 spots.
He got 2 spots.
He got all-pro at linebacker and D-end.
Didn't even know that.
That's
That's really dumb.
Why would they do that?
Well, he probably lined up at both a lot.
I hope I didn't. I swear that's real, but I hope I didn't make that up. But
He must have lined up both at both spots.
So I was going to use that point to say I think outside linebackers in like a 3-4 are more versatile than a D end, but apparently he's both. So can I even say that? But no, I just when you see a guy like that who can play outside linebacker and D end at an all-pro level, I just think that versatility, along with being just as dominant as a pass rusher as like a guy like Myles Garrett, and what is he? He's still like only 25, 26. He's still young. And I wish he was on the Jets. And that's really all that matters.
Yeah. We're talking about D linemen here, slash outside linebackers. But how do we have this whole conversation without saying Aaron Donald?
Well, when you're right, don't say Aaron Donald.
I mean, you're talking about a guy who, and you mentioned that he leads the league in sacks. This guy gets double teamed on 70% of plays.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
They have Sue on the right next to him.
I'm telling you, he gets double teamed on 70% of plays. Saw it on Reddit, so it's clearly right. And he leads the league in sacks. Talk about a disruptive force in the middle of a defense that can absolutely carry a defense. This guy is undersized, whatever. He is fucking shredded. Like like defensive tackles with like an 8-pack. I mean, you mentioned Myles Garrett. He has a crazy physique too, but
he's the end.
Yeah. Aaron Donald is just absolutely incredible. You know, the whole focus of all these blocking schemes is on this guy, and he is absolutely killing it. He's incredible, and I think if you're gonna base a team around, I mean, I think you can even argue that Aaron Donald is somebody to center your team around more than some of these quarterbacks in the league. He's just that good. I think it's only his fourth or fifth season.
He's young,
but
he's definitely young.
He's still young, but he's on pace to become a legend in this league, and he would be my answer. Yeah,
and the fact that he's on the Rams and they're so good, can only help his
I don't think
legacy.
you can go wrong with either of those guys.
No,
any
definitely
of the three.
not.
They're three of the best young defensive players in the league.
Yeah,
we'll be talking about them for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, good question.
Good question.
Good question, Brian.
Don't ask another one though. All right, so we got one from, I don't know if there's one of your friends, so sorry if I'm saying Alec Abunza. Is that your friend?
Yes, that's my friend.
Thank you, Alec. Do the Bears have a legitimate chance of winning the NFC North? He also said, are the Bears fake news? I'd rather talk about are the Bears fake news.
Okay.
I think they are fake news.
Basically, buy or sell the Bears.
Yeah, buy or sell the Bears. And I sell the Bears. I do not think they're that good. I don't think Trubisky has really. I'm not saying he won't end up being good, but it's like you said with Darnold. Like maybe his third, fourth year is when it'll really start to come around. I just don't think this is the year that. I said in an earlier podcast we made that people think he was going to take like a Goff type leap because they got this offensive coordinator who came from the Chiefs and like he was a young quarterback. They got Robinson, like whatever, all this shit, and everyone had just expected a huge leap from him, which he has not really shown at this point. And as the first part I said about winning the NFC North, definitely not happening. And they could barely beat the Jets. Like it was a pretty good game.
They beat the Jets pretty bad.
It was like a close game until it started unraveling a little bit.
It was close, but there was never really any doubt who was going to win that game.
I know. I mean, but they should handily win that game, like easily. It should not even be a competition.
You know,
especially with the roster the Jets trotted out that week.
Yeah, no, you're right about
that. Coming into the season, nobody thought the Bears were going to be this great team from the start.
Especially
when
they
go back
got
to our
Khalil.
Sleepers from the beginning of the year.
Yeah, a sleeper. They're not a team that they should be bowling through the Jets. They're just as unproven. They're a little bit farther ahead in the rebuild, but I mean, they're not some team that has to go in and stomp out the Jets. They're a team that's going to win ugly sometimes.
Yeah, I'm not selling the Bears. I do agree with a lot of what you said. I think this team is being held back by Trubisky a little bit because he's still so raw, and he does make a lot of ill-advised throws, and he makes a lot of mistakes. But that defense is really good, and we were talking about Mac a little bit. He's a stud. If he can get healthy and get back to playing the way he was the first couple of weeks of the season, I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with down the stretch. And when I say force to be reckoned with, I don't mean one of the best teams in the NFC, but I think they can definitely sneak into the playoffs. I don't think they're going to win the NFC North. I think the Vikings are going to win the NFC North. But I definitely think they could grab one of those wild card spots. Yeah, basically, I think that defense can carry them to the playoffs. And if Trubisky can string together some good games down the stretch and take a half a step forward, even that could propel them into the playoffs. It's kind of maybe they won't go on the run that they did, but because the NFC is so stacked, but they like similar team to the Jaguars last year. You know, a quarterback that's maybe not quite there yet, but is willing to drive the ball downfield, take risks, and
please. If the Bears had Bortles, they'd be running away with the division.
I think they got no shot. Especially they have to play the Packers again, and have they played the Vikings yet?
No,
So
that's what I was. Vikings that twice. Was my point. I think the Bears are just a perfect example of a team that's a year away, which is fine. Like Trubisky has shown this season that he can play in the league. Like he's gonna be a guy for you know, he'll be around. He'll be probably a mid-tier quarterback.
He'll probably be a guy.
He'll be a mid-tier quarterback. Like he's not going anywhere. I think he's their quarterback. He's their franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the defense. Their defense is really good, but it's really young, and they've had some bad games. They gave up 38 points to the Pats, 31 to Brock Osweiler. They're just a team that's putting it all together, and you know, like you said, Trubisky's going to need another year of growth. They still play the Vikings twice, the Lions twice. They play the Packers. They play the Rams. They're 5-3 right now. They're going to be like an 8-8, 9-7 team. I don't think that this is their year to make the playoffs, but I think that next season they'll be one of the best teams in the NFC.
Mm-hmm. Well, the question was about this season, so
yes, so they're not going to make the playoffs this year, but they're going to be a team to watch.
All right. Yeah, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
They're not fake
either.
news.
Fake news this year.
I don't know.
This is exactly what we expected from the Bears. 5-3.
Well, if people are asking if they're fake news,
I don't think the Packers can go into Soldier Field and win a game. I don't at this point. They're 0-4 on the road. They just traded away their best defensive player. It's looking like
haven't heard about that.
It's looking like there's some turmoil over there in Green Bay, I guess you could call it. At this point in the season, and I don't know when they play. Do you know, Matt?
When what?
When the Packers play in Chicago. I don't know when that is, but at this point in the season, I don't see the Packers going into Chicago and winning.
Week 15. That's
all
when
right,
Rodgers has won 4 straight, and like they're feeling great.
Yeah.
I read a stat that Week 15, Rodgers is the best in league history.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that high on the Packers, and I think the Bears can definitely steal a game from them.
They could split with the Lions.
They can beat the Lions twice. They're a better team than the Detroit Lions.
If their defense shows up.
Yeah.
A young defense like that, you know, they're still putting it together.
If Mac gets healthy, watch out for the Bears.
Matt is healthy. He's right here.
Hey.
It sounded like you said Matt. I know you said Mac, but
that game against the Dolphins that they gave up 31 points, Mac was banged up, and he was not really a factor in that game. And the Pats are the Pats.
That was a bad loss against Miami.
It was a bad loss for sure, but when the best player on your team, hands down, is not healthy, it's going to show.
The Dolphins had their best player was out. Ryan Tannehill was out.
I don't know if he's the best player.
Ryan Tannehill's impact on the game is the same as Khalil Mack.
Your starting quarterback?
If you ask this kid,
Osweiler's not even playing bad.
Devontae Parker is the best player on the Dolphins. Mr. Mike
Osweiler has like
Cornfeld's a Parker stand.
Osweiler's playing pretty well. Don't sleep on him.
Come on.
He has
Where's my pillow?
He has like 8 touchdowns, 3 picks.
Give me a pillow. I'm going to bed. Osweiler's a trash
Dolphins had under 200 yards of offense yesterday.
Okay, but we're comparing Ryan Tannehill's impact on the game versus Khalil Mack's.
Tannehill's good.
No, he's not.
They were like, what, 10-1
Osweiler is
That's
playing exactly as you can expect Tannehill to play if he was playing.
No.
Yes.
I don't think that's true.
They got to move on from that
clearly
guy.
Better.
Can't play ever.
I don't know what his injury is, dude. All
His
of a sudden
shoulder,
he's out for the
AC
fucking
joint.
year.
He's out for the year?
I don't know, but like he's missed like 4 games
Yeah.
now.
Fuck him.
But
We're going to take – this guy's just lying to us on live television.
I think Tannehill, debatable.
I'm buying the Bears.
No, I'm kidding.
I'm starting a franchise right now. I'm taking Ryan Tannehill. Over
So it's a
Khalil
unanimous Bears are fake news. No, all right. 2 buys, 1 sell.
Good question, though.
Yeah, thank you.
It was 2 sells, no?
Yeah.
Are you buying them?
2 buys, 1 sell.
I'm
he's
selling them
selling
this season.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, that's what the question
I
was.
think, this season, yes.
I thought Matt was
I
buying.
want to be the only one that's wrong.
Going forward, watch out.
All right, since we brought up Mike Kornfeld before, we'll go to Mike Kornfeld's question.
Two-part question.
2-part question, and they both relate to each other very well. Who is your NFL MVP? We are at week 9, right? At this point in the season, and
No.
We're
going into week 10. Week 9 is currently going on.
No, it's full. Who was MVP? Who's going to be MVP?
Well, you have to base it off of these 9 games so
we'll
far.
see. Okay.
All right. And should DeRozan not start? So, whatever you want to get into first there, we could sort of just weave it together.
DeRozan should 100% be on the bench.
A guy that when you get to the playoffs will not be effective, why would you waste the minutes?
Exactly.
Especially if they play the Lakers. Yeah, LeBron.
I'm not entertaining this question.
All right, so we'll start with the first part, maybe to warm you up, get the juices flowing for the next part. All right, so who's your MVP? And the obvious answer is Todd Gurley, and not a quarterback again, because it's fucking they should just make like a separate award for the quarterbacks if it's going to be the fucking quarterback every year. What is Gurley like?
Offensive Player of the Year.
It's like they don't even take into consideration any other player.
Because the impact of a quarterback is just so much more significant than a running back.
But Todd Gurley is arguably the best player in the league, the most talented player in the league.
You know who just beat Todd Gurley and who's going to win MVP?
Drew Brees.
That's because why? Because he's more valuable. So Drew Brees it's my MVP. Has 1 pick on the season, having probably his best year.
Dude, Gurley is unstoppable. Unstoppable.
Okay.
He was held to his worst game this year.
All right.
This past week,
yeah,
and
Drew
they
Brees
lost.
did that.
Yes. No, but I mean, dude, they out. What is it called?
Outdueled.
They outdueled the Rams offense, which
Outkissed.
Gurley is the main proponent of. Which I mean, that's not really.
But does that not show they put all their chips in on defending Gurley, and team couldn't run as well, so clearly he's just as valuable.
Right. Okay, but the whole value thing is not really what we're talking about. It's going to come down to stats at the end of the day, because it always does with MVP awards. It's the best player award.
He could break the record for touchdowns in a season, though. No?
Yeah, so he'll win Offensive Player of the Year. MVP is good. It's going to a quarterback. It's if it's not Mahomes, which I think Alex is going to say.
I think it's gonna be Mahomes, and I think that not because he is the most valuable player, but I think with these awards it tends to be a popularity contest sometimes, and everybody is going crazy about Pat Mahomes, and he's the talk of the league, and he is having an amazing season. A historic season, to be quite frankly, up until this point. I think he's on pace for 52 touchdowns, and the record is 55. So, not that he doesn't deserve it. If I at this point in the season, if I were to give it to whoever's most deserving, I would say Drew Brees as well. But I think it's going to end up being Mahomes just because of the whole aura around
I feel
him.
like the NFL is a little better and not falling into the popularity trap like the NBA does, where they decide the MVP after the 3rd preseason game. Like, I feel like when Brady wins MVP, like, no one wants to see that, but like they'll give it to him if he deserves it.
So, and to your point, I would say that if the season ended today, it would be Mahomes over Breeze. I'm picking Breeze because I think for the second half of the year, I expect it's more likely that Breeze keeps it up than Mahomes does. I'm not saying Mahomes is going to fall off. I just think when you finish the season, Breeze will have a more impressive body of work. I think the Saints are a better team too, which might, record-wise might help the Breeze's case.
Mm-hmm.
But Mahomes is just as deserving as Breeze right now, if not more. But I mean, it's going to come down to a quarterback.
Yeah.
I just can't see Gurley winning an MVP.
I don't know if he will, but he should.
I don't think he should though. I think that a quarterback just has way more impact, and like they're going to be, always like more of a reason why a team's winning. And his numbers are going to be just as good, like if you compare them, like to running back, like regular running back.
See, this is the thing. Like, you are right, but I'm sort of just fed up with the fact that that's a thing. So I feel like there should be more. It should be taken more into consideration what he's doing and how amazing he is and his actual. Look, I understand, and I've argued against like a running back and their impact, whatever. But like this, he does everything. He can rush for 200 yards a game and have 200 receiving yards in a game. Like, he is capable of that. He could score all the team's points, and they could just go to him every play, and they would still be amazing.
It is really impressive what he's doing as a running back. Because, with the quarterbacks, you can argue, like, oh, it's the system. You can't really argue that with Breeze because he's incredible. But there are so many weapons that he can go to. You can argue that maybe having, what's his name, Thomas, Kamara, Ingram, all these guys is making Breeze looks fantastic, and you can't really say the same about Gurley.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay. Don't sleep on Phillip Rivers either as a dark horse. 19 touchdowns, 3 picks.
We're trying to keep our credibility, I ask you to relax. So does LaDainian Tomlinson have the record for touchdowns in a season?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you don't think if Gurley beats that he'll be taken into consideration?
I just don't think he's going to.
He's going to get some votes.
How could you not, like, I don't know, man.
He's
Fuck quarterbacks. It's a running back league now.
Every running back, like the top running backs are scoring crazy amounts of touchdowns.
It's a running back league now.
I don't think that's true.
It's not.
But I don't know. It's
How
just
many
tough.
touchdowns is Gurley on pace to score?
He has
62.
He has like 16 or 17 already.
Holy shit!
And we're just over halfway through the
And
season.
how many did LT have? What's the record?
He had 28 rushing.
Corn, do you know the record?
I think it was 31.
31 total.
He had 20 in his
rushing and like 3 receiving. 28 rushing. I don't think Gurley will get 28 rushing.
He had
but he's gonna have way more receiving.
Yeah.
LT had 20 touchdowns in his last 9 games of that season.
That's crazy. So, yeah,
Pretty nuts.
Yeah. So, when you like think about Gurley and how good he is, it just really makes you think of DeRozan and how not good he is and how much of a bust he is.
I think we should clarify that this is a joke.
Yeah, it is a joke. If you didn't catch on to that, I don't know what to tell you. But we'll move on here because we have some more.
I think the question was asked seriously.
Well, look, I said my piece. If the guy's going to just not show up when the playoffs come, and just because a specific man is in the building, I don't see why you would waste your time.
Again, I have no comment on the question.
All right. We'll see. You want to do
wrap
last question? Oh, Matt wants to wrap it. Here's the last question. It's from, it was your friend again, right? What's his name?
Oh, is this Jordan's question?
Yes.
Jordan Friedman?
Yes, thank you, Jordan.
Terrible question.
Awesome question. Are the Lakers going to make the playoffs, and why does it look like LeBron isn't trying? One of you start this off.
Yes, the Lakers are going to make the playoffs, and it looks like LeBron isn't trying because he's not.
Okay, all right. We're not going to – let's tweak this a little like we love to do because, come on with these questions, guys. Let's pick it up a little bit. The Lakers are going to make the playoffs. We can all agree on that. Where they'll land is a different question.
Yeah.
I'm going to go against popular opinion here, or maybe not popular opinion, maybe just rational. This is a rational thought. The Lakers are going to have a road playoff game in the first round. They're not going to have home court. They'll be 5 or 6. I think that's fair for the first year with this team. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. They'll make the playoffs, but I don't expect them to do much damage in this season.
All right. You got to be
and LeBron is also not trying.
You got to be level-headed with this. Look, this team, there's going to be a bunch of hot takes. They're the Los Angeles Lakers. They have LeBron James. They're a young team. Everyone wants them to fail. So everything you're going to hear is the Lakers aren't going to make the playoffs.
Who wants them to fail?
Everyone wants the Lakers to fail. Dude, everyone that's not a Lakers fan wants the Lakers to fail. And everyone that's not a LeBron fan.
Them.
No, they do not.
They're getting all the hype.
No, they're not,
dude.
Team, everyone thinks they're terrible.
I don't think anybody wants to see them fail.
Yes, they do.
They think they're terrible because of how they're playing.
You don't see the way people talk about the Lakers?
They think that they're the greatest team of all time.
This is LeBron's heel turn. People love that.
Yeah. What do you mean?
People
hate LeBron's got to be the most hated
already.
player in the league.
This is his checked out turn.
I think he's more
if you don't like,
he's not playing for the Cavs and acting like he cares about Cleveland.
That's your fucking personal opinion.
All right, so
yeah,
it is. What do you want me to say? You wanted to
That's not what people
question.
think. That's what you think.
You think
nobody cares about the fake Cleveland shit except you.
You think they're going to be the 4th or 5th seed? Okay, maybe. They're the 5th or 6th. They're the second best team in the West. They're better than the Houston Rockets, if that's everyone's second best team. Yeah, some team they have. What are they? 2 and 5.
What do you have? One more win than them?
Actually, we have 3 more wins.
Okay. First of all,
2 more wins. 1 more win.
To say they're the second best team in the West right now is so irresponsibly dumb for someone to say. What have they done to show that they're the second best team in the West?
All right.
This is
not right. They will be the second best team in the West, and if they do not play the Warriors before round 2, they will be in the Western Conference Finals and lose in 5.
This.
I think they'll be a 4 seed.
At best.
LeBron James is on the team.
And nobody else is on the team. Brandon Ingram, as good as you think he is.
He's played 6 games. Don't talk to me about Brandon Ingram.
Okay. However good that you think he is.
He's amazing.
He's probably the worst number 2 LeBron's ever had before his first stint in Cleveland. The guy, what? It's his 3rd year in the league, and he's going to be LeBron's go-to guy?
He's the number 2. He'll average 20.
Okay, what's he averaging right now?
17.
Okay.
He missed 4 games.
I've seen him. What did he score last night? 8?
No, he had 16 on 7 for 11 shooting.
I thought he had 8.
That was like a few games ago.
Okay. Well, you know what? 3rd-year player's going to have those games. He's not going to stand
up
against
they're
the top teams in the West.
Listen to this.
They've never played a meaningful game in their careers, these players.
Yeah, but they want it. They're hungry. They're young, hungry guys, and they're playing with LeBron James.
Oh, I didn't
Listen
know
to
that
this.
They wanted
this. All right, they're playing bad right now. I think they're one of the deeper teams in the league. They have Rondo coming off the bench. He was the starting point guard for a team that swept the 3rd seed. They just signed Tyson Chandler.
I'm going to be very...
Oh, what?
He's
amazing. They really?
Yeah.
So they just have a bunch of random-ass dudes.
Look, actually, that plays into my point. The reason they're playing bad right now...
I'll give you one thing about Ingram. He's got a good right hook.
Right hook? I've never seen him take a hook shot in his life.
He's throwing a couple punches.
Oh, a right hook.
This kid's talking hook shots.
Yeah, no, he would fucking
he doesn't have a hook shot in his arsenal. Interesting.
No, he doesn't. I don't think he should.
I think...
Expand your
I don't want to get in between this because I'm just going to be very, very practical here.
Why? Who's not being practical?
You guys are on the 2 opposite ends of the spectrum
Look,
here.
This guy's talking Tyson Chandler's the game changer that
he's
they were
their backup center. Give him 10 minutes a game. That's been their weakness up to this point. Dude, their backups. Do you know who Jonathan Williams is? Have you ever heard of Jonathan Williams?
He probably can contribute
Wasn't
just
he
as much as
on
Tyson Chandler at this
No.
point.
He's like 6'7", and he's never played a game in his life until this year. He was in the G League. He was their backup center.
Yeah, well, that means the team's not that good.
All right, 4 of their most important players just got to the team this year. McGee, LeBron, Stevenson, Rondo, and the
And
other
they're just
four.
gonna, jump into the Western Conference and be the second best.
Yeah,
team.
by the end of the year when they have chemistry and they're elite.
Hmm.
The
I
other
think
four,
that'll take till next season.
but that still makes them better than the Rockets.
There are other teams in the Western Conference.
Got the Nuggets, got the Trailblazers.
Yeah, the Nuggets are going to win a game.
Pelicans, Nuggets.
Nuggets are going to win a
Trailblazers,
series.
Timberwolves. Why not? What? All these teams are ahead of the
Who's
Lakers
beating
right now. They
LeBron
look
James
better
in a
than the Lakers.
series? Who's beating LeBron James in a series?
It depends. It depends on who they match up against. The Nuggets might be able to. They're a more complete team than the Lakers.
Yeah, there's
right
a
now.
lot of more complete teams that have played against LeBron with lesser talent.
Okay, and LeBron's a year older. We're
He's
playing
fine,
with a
he's
bunch
fine.
of kids who have never set foot in a meaningful game, like I mentioned.
I think that's.
So
I
what?
think
The
that's an
Nuggets haven't set foot in a meaningful game either. You're using them.
Yes, they have.
They didn't make the playoffs.
They played the last game of the season was for the playoffs.
Oh, big fucking whoop!
I'm honestly
They
with.
Lost to the Timberwolves.
I'm with.
Another team
I'm
that's
honestly
better
with
than
Matt here. Like, I do.
No surprise. You're both wrong again.
Really
Interesting.
non-biased right here.
No.
Look at you.
What do I look
So
like?
what
a
are we?
man?
What are we talking about? Are we talking about what seed the Lakers will be, or where?
The question
how far
was-
they're gonna go?
The question actually was, are they going to make the playoffs? We all said yes.
Remains to be seen.
They'll make the playoffs. Is
They're
LeBron
obviously
not
playoffs.
trying? He's not. And then we turned it into how far they're going to go.
Okay, so I think the Lakers will lose whenever they play the Warriors, which will be in the second round of the Western Conference playoffs. By no means have these players proven anything, like in terms of going far in the playoffs, winning playoff series. I mean, the Pelicans did that, but
They're just going to run into this Western Conference playoffs and start stomping out
Jordan
legitimate,
Clarkson and Rodney
proven
Hood,
teams.
all those guys, they've really showed a lot before going deep into
It's
the
the
playoffs.
Eastern Conference, dude. The
So-
West is completely stacked. It's the best.
They still
conference.
played better teams than the team LeBron had around him with
Arguable.
lesser talent.
And it's-
Arguable. That's not a fact. The Pacers were not necessarily a better team. The Raptors have their own problems that they dealt with last year, that stopped them from being a.
I
complete
think
team.
they have a good mix of players that fit well together. They still have to find their rotations, find their lineups, and they're getting towards that point. I still think. I mean, I don't want to get too much into it. I know you guys don't watch every game. I still think Kuzma should come off the bench. I think Hart should start. I think they both are better suited in those roles. I think they're a deep team. I think once they find their stride and their chemistry, they have guys like LeBron, Ingram, Kuzma. I know they're young, but they can put up 20 a night. They can score. They're second in the league in scoring right now. The problem is their defense, and I think a lot of that has to do with just never playing together before, and like you said, being young. But I think last year you saw all those guys, Lonzo, Ingram, Kuzma, Hart. The players they were in the beginning of the season were not at all who they were at the end. I think they're going to take some big strides towards the end of the season, and it just takes time, especially when you have four of your core players on your team, and now you're adding another guy who's going to be in the rotation. He's not going to be anything special, Tyson Chandler, but he's going to be in the rotation. It's just they haven't played together.
look, I think this team has the pieces, but
They need another star, of course. They're not going to win the championship without signing another star, but
I'm not saying that. But I think they have the pieces, but playoff basketball is completely different than regular season basketball. So by the time the playoffs rolls around, whatever they did in like last regular season and even this one, it doesn't matter anymore. When you're playing teams that were in the playoffs last year, they know what it's like to be there. And if you're just banking on LeBron to carry a team in 7 games,
but
Western Conference teams, this is.
I'm not even just banking on LeBron. There's now 3 other players on the team who have rings and have been deep in the playoffs and have. What? Oh well, okay. We're gonna wrap it up after this. Rondo, JaVale just got a ring. LeBron obviously has rings. They're bringing in Chandler, who has a ring. Rondo's been playing well. Like if Lonzo's struggling, you can bring in Rondo. You can trust him to be a starting point guard.
Yeah,
in the playoffs. Like,
I love the Rondo signing, but like you're bringing up JaVale McGee.
why can a team of Rondo
would that Warriors team have
Why
been
can a team-
any different without JaVale McGee? Like no.
You're just talking about guys who don't have experience. I'm talking about experience, and why can a team of Rondo and Anthony Davis sweep the Blazers, but Rondo, LeBron, and probably a better mix of players than the Pelicans have sweep a team like beat a team like the Blazers, beat the Rockets?
I think they can if they figure it out, but we're talking about these young guys who have never been there before, and isn't it possible that some of these guys, and playoff basketball is, like I said, playoff basketball is completely different than regular season basketball. Isn't it possible that once they get there, it's like, holy shit, this is what real basketball is, and they might not show up.
They might not, but then you have players like Donovan Mitchell, who, as a rookie, came and showed up in the playoffs right away.
It's also better than anyone on the Lakers.
Yeah, but they still like, it's a mentality thing. How do we know that they don't have the mentality to
That's
like,
what
succeed
I'm
in the
saying.
playoffs? Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, like all those young guys.
I'm saying is you just don't know. It's there's a lot of variance here. There are veterans in the league that still once it gets to playoff time, they don't show up. You got we talked about DeRozan before. He tends to not show up in the playoffs. Lillard tends to not show up in the playoffs. And it's not totally out of the question that Ingram, who's he's barely past his teenage years, he might not show up. Lonzo might not show up. Kuzma might not show up. It's going to be tough.
It's possible. I just think
I think the biggest thing is, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I want to just get this last point in. I think that the way the Lakers' regular season is going to go is going to dictate a lot of how their playoff situation is going to be. I think it'll take a while, like you said, for them to gel, just like it should with a ton of new players coming in.
Yeah.
So that's why they're probably going to be in the 4 to 6 range, and they're going to get a tough matchup. They're going to get a tough second round matchup. It's just a learning experience for these guys.
Look, and I can't argue with that because it's very possible, and it's probably the most likely situation that they end up in that range. I just do think that when they do figure it out, and I definitely think they will. I think by like December, January, you'll really see them start to click. I just see them being able, if they don't face the Warriors until the conference finals, I think they could get there, and I think they're the second best team in the West. And James Harden and Chris Paul will never win a ring, ever.
Right. Let's wrap it up.
All right, we went way longer than we wanted to, but it's okay. We ended it on a great note. I'm always right at the end, and I'll say that every episode. No, but thank you for tuning in once again.
Thank you for your questions.
Thank you for your questions. We'll try and we won't do a whole episode dedicated to it probably, but we'll try and incorporate that more into the regular structure. We're still trying to figure out a full-on format, but we do want to keep it interesting and different. We don't want to do the same thing every week. But thank you for tuning in. This is the Memo. This was episode 3, and we will be back next week. Thank you.